Hello, I'm Jean Ferguson. I'm the parent of an LHS student. I want to add my voice to the many others opposing the 9th grade school idea. Primarily, my opposition centers on two issues. First, as long as we have class rankings, it's unfair to separate the 9th grade class into two groups. Splitting means two separate groups of teachers that may or may not be equal. Also, 9th graders will not have the opportunity to meet the entire 9th grade class among whom they will be competing for rank. Having two 9th grade campuses is far from optimum and definitely not fair to the 9th grade class. Second, having split campuses makes it difficult to have a cohesive program in which 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders can all participate. I've seen this with the LHS orchestra and its negative effect on it. Separating both 9th and 10th graders will have a far more negative impact. The students will have limited contact with upperclassmen, and it's not good for the program. Consequently, I urge the board to vote no on this proposition. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank Vaughn.
Hi, my name is Frank Vaughn, and I have a son who's in LHS. I have a daughter who graduated from LHS. My son plays orchestra, he plays the cello, he also is in pole vault. If this goes through, he'll go to orchestra in Colo, he'll go to regular school at South, and then he'll go to track at LHS. 3 campuses in one day. Okay? You're not doing that to Marcus, Flower Mound, Hebron, or any other LHS high school. Task Force in 2005 recommended 2 districts, 2 schools, and it said one problem with the 9th, 10th grade campuses is the need to transport students all over the district. This can be partially addressed by adding additional staff, but are you going to add additional programs, or are you just going to keep the programs isolated at one campus and make kids go all over the place? Hey, all the public meetings I could find on this, I've never heard anybody speak in favor of this. Yet Garden Ridge had a rezoning plan, and you guys said in your press release that after reviewing the proposal, listening to community concerns, the rezone was removed. Every meeting I've heard on this, no one has been in for it, yet you guys keep voting for it. I don't understand why Garden Ridge parents have more pull with you than LHS parents. On your website, you guys have a name contest. Board of Trustees seeks input on new name for Lewisville High School North, due the 11th of February. You've already put it on your webpage that you've decided to do this. So what violations of the Open Meeting Act did this occur in? How did you decide already when you haven't even voted on it yet? This is on your LISD webpage. The contest closes February 11th. You've already decided. So this hearing is just what? What for? I don't understand. What we want is the same thing other high schools have in the LISD district. My son has to pay we have to pay $130 a year for him to play a worn-out cello in the orchestra. Marcus and Flower Mound don't have to pay, and they have new instruments. Why do we get the old worn-out instruments? My son does pole vault, and they were going to get new poles. So they got poles that had Marcus all over because the new poles went to Marcus. We want the same thing the other LHS schools get. That's what we want. We want equality. We don't want separate but equal. Because our experience with LHS is separate is not equal. We don't have the same resources the other schools do. We have a lower AP pass rate. We don't have dual credit except at night. But Flower Mound's got dual credit right there on campus, not LHS. We want the same thing the other schools have.
Thank you. Susan Arthur.
I'm here tonight to request that you vote against the proposed attendance zone for LHS. As a Lewisville parent, I, like other Lewisville parents, feel that LISD has been horribly unfair to our children with the decision to split their school into 3 campuses all over town. Dr. Waddell may not realize exactly how extreme this is going to be. It's north end of town, middle of town, and south end of town. So I think it's important for him to know that. I think also, Mr. Vaughn just mentioned a task force from 2005. I think it's important for Dr. Waddell to realize that there were no LHS parents, administrators, teachers, or students on that task force. The task force that recommended this plan, names were placed on the list of task force members for people who did not even have any involvement in the decision. In addition, an educational expert, Dr. Bill Rawhauser, whose name was on the task force list, told me when I called him that he'd never been to a task force meeting and that the extent of his involvement was that someone called him to read meeting minutes to him. By the way, he's an educational expert and he was opposed to this plan. Does it sound like this was a real task force designed to gauge what a community actually needed, or just a formality necessary to justify someone's ill-conceived plan? The supposed justification for this plan started with an inaccurate enrollment projection for LHS that was off by hundreds of students. Then the justification evolved. It became providing smaller learning communities due to the socioeconomic status of some of the LHS students. Now I hear that it's turned to dropout prevention, and I think we can address dropout prevention if we simply do a better job of verifying that many former LHS students have enrolled in other schools and are not dropouts at all. That seems obvious. At any rate, I'm sure that spending a significant portion of the day on a transfer bus instead of in a classroom will not combat dropout issues. The 9th grade campus has been used as a model for other schools, and it should not be changed, especially when it has been extraordinarily successful in educating the students it serves. If LHS must be divided into 3 campuses, I ask that the 9th grade campus remain unchanged and the new campus house only 10th graders for 2 years. For 2 years until the main campus can be rebuilt large enough to hold 3 grades. Lewisville residents were also left out of the decision to rebuild LHS because we think it's ridiculous to build a school smaller than it already is. They're going to rebuild it smaller, and we think that's ridiculous. I hope the board will revisit that decision soon. LHS is a school that serves rich and poor together in an environment where they can both learn from each other, and these are the reasons why we have remained in the LHS attendance zone. I ask the board to vote against this zoning proposal and send the issue back with instructions that the administration must do the right thing for Lewisville students. Thank you.
Thank you. Marsha Thompson.